What's up, guys? It's your boys, the Wokey, back out with some more of the Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger's videos. And today we're going to be taking a look at a new YouTube channel. Thankfully, I've gotten the green light to watch, react, commentate, add my 2 cents in on Unapologetically Me True Crime. We're going to be watching these videos that she has been posting about the Watts murders and Nichol Kessinger of the Watts family annihilation deep dive part 1 of a multi-series that I've definitely been wanting to watch, but I've been holding off because I wanted her to accept the invite for me to watch these, and she did. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, she will want to collab. But before we go any further, if you guys could do me a solid favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that white arrow icon down at the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys all for the love. And speaking of love and support, check out the link in the description. I have her Unapologetically Me True Crimes link in the description. Go over to her channel, give her some love, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Let's try to get her to 10,000 subscribers. She's currently at 9,340, and we want to get her to 10. So go help her. Watch her old stuff. Watch her old stuff and the new stuff. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Part 1, Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger deep dive. I'm so excited.
It's me.
I hate that laugh.
You guys just call me back when you have a chance. Hi.
So gross.
It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.
He went to North Carolina and he was trying to rehab his marriage with his wife.
He said.
Do you know her name at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say it.
Are you okay saying her name?
It's Shanann.
All right. And do you know the children's name?
Yes, it's Bella and Celeste.
Okay.
Yeah, he flew out there, and I thought I had convinced him to try to make peace with her. And I was like, if you guys work on this,
Yeah, see right there.
I'm out. Because what's the point? I'm not trying to be with somebody that's in another relationship. Sometimes, right after work, if I was still talking to him, I get kind of bummed out, and I tell him, just oh, it's frustrating sometimes, having to wait. He still made
Oh, it really sucks being the other woman? No crap.
very frequent communication with me when he was out there. This is what he told me he wanted. We just talk about it. I'm like, what is your plan? I told him a few times, I think that you should take the time to read some articles.
I feel like, too, every single time I watch her interviews, any single one, or Chris Watts for that matter, I find something that I uncover, or oh, I don't remember that from last time. It's nice to watch things multiple times, because in other movies I've watched and I'm like, wait, that was in there the entire time. So that's why I enjoy watching these crime videos. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, we've gone through this already. Oh my gosh, have you found anything new? If you don't want to watch the video, I understand. But if you want to dive in and see if there's anything we can pull or grab or but take out, I definitely enjoy you being here. So just wanted to throw that in there.
About what separation does to kids, and he's like, oh, they'll be fine, and I told him, I was like, even though they're small and you think that they'll be fine, I was like, I think you guys should just read about it, just so that you guys are prepared in case, one of these two starts having a hard time with the fact that you guys aren't in the same house anymore. They don't have to be in a situation that's probably not good for the kids, because it's not good for those two. I really try to take everything with this whole situation very slow. The only part that I screwed up on was the fact that he wasn't completely separated from her when him and I decided to spend time with each other. And it wasn't, hey, we should get married, and hey, we should have babies, and hey, I want to live with you, and hey, I need to meet your children now.
I like this woman. I like this woman a lot.
And let's cut.
When I say woman, I mean the person doing the YouTube channel.
The mom out. It was never like that. He told me, he's like, I feel like my paycheck goes in my.
Also, according to Chris, Nikki told him she wanted to give him his firstborn son. There was allegedly why Nikki was so upset Shanann was pregnant. Get over it.
Bank account, and I just watch it go like this. He's like, but it doesn't have to. He's like, she makes it like that. I don't know if he was resentful. I just think he was frustrated by the fact that they could be doing a lot better financially, and she had really bad spending habits. Because I would never put myself in a situation where someone was like, you know what, we're going to live in this house that costs like double what we can afford, and that's how it's going to be, because I want everybody to think we're fancy. Because I wouldn't do that. I mean, to me, like, I wouldn't put up with somebody doing that to me. They just kind of like fell apart. They didn't talk.
They fell apart because of your idiot self.
He told me that her and him have had communication issues for about 6 years. And I said, 6 years is a really long time for you guys to not fix that, considering they were married for what, 8? I mean, that's like the majority of their marriage.
And you said earlier you did not know she was pregnant until reading the newspaper.
Yep.
Right here, like she blatantly puts right here, like I've said for how many times, all the YouTube channels, she didn't know Shanann was pregnant. Yet searches shows she Googled Shanann's Facebook account several times beginning in 2017. So there's no way that she did not know Shanann was pregnant. There are people that are still saying that she never knew Shanann was pregnant. Are you kidding me?
That never came up in any conversation.
I know why he lied to me. He lied to me because if I'd have known that he had a child on the way, I'd have never wasted my time with him in the first place. Like, none of this would ever even occur if he would have just told me the truth. Like, I remember when he was in North Carolina and he was like trying to
take time and space to be with your family in North Carolina,
patch things up with his wife, and he told me he loved me, and I was like, don't say that to me. Like, and I mean, and that might even be in the text too, where it's like, don't say those words to me and then go try to make peace with your wife and lay in bed with another woman. Like, just
another woman? You are the other woman. Shanann was there first. I love how she says lay in bed with another woman. She is the other woman.
Don't do that. It just didn't sit right for me, you know. It's almost disrespectful where it's like, please don't. I'm like, you know, if we get to that point where it is you and me, like, yes, you can say that.
So you got, I mean, in the short period of time that you guys were together, he
yes
became very attached to you.
Yes. Very, very
attached. He's sending cards.
I love how she says, very, very attached. So was she. I miss your face. Like, are you kidding?
Cards,
flowers.
He's telling you he loves you. He sends.
So this necklace that's right here, that you see right here, in her interview, or her almost interview, where she was asked but not actually went on like a TV show, the pictures. Let me bring up the picture. Hold on. This girl has the audacity to wear the same necklace that was bought. I'm certain Watts communicated for more than with Kessinger than is reflected in the phone data, perhaps felicitated through the secret calculator application. It became apparent he was receiving assorted nude images of Kessinger. Probably look like looking at some poop of Kessinger that she was taken by herself, sending to Watts, which he then stashed in that application to prevent Shanann from ever seeing. But again, she's wearing the necklace right here. That's literally right there. Like, could you be any more obvious?
Sends you flowers. Does he buy you any other gifts?
Nope. I wouldn't have wanted them anyways.
Chris didn't buy her gifts, and she wouldn't have wanted them anyways. The gift that she was getting is the butt stuff.
Flowers is enough. You can't. I don't need expensive stuff.
Okay. But he becomes very attached.
But Chris spent quite a bit of money on whining and dining Nikki. Dinners, camping, sand dunes, Bandmere Speedway, the Shelby Mustang Museum, all of this, which Chris paid for.
Yes.
You guys are talking multiple times a day, at least. You're seeing each other on a regular basis.
Probably put on a credit card.
Like, I still did my own thing all the time.
Did your friends know about him?
Nope.
Why?
Because it's like he's with 2 women right now. They
I know for sure Jim and Charlotte knew.
Don't need to know about
so if you
my name is about to be like slandered for probably a while. I don't know.
We're 6 years in and we're still talking about it. So yeah, you hit the nail on that one.
How long it's going to take to heal, but I would not be surprised if it's going to be hard to go out in public sometimes for a couple of years. And that really hurts me. I'm just like, this is a horrible, horrible thing. Like, how dare you? You know, and people aren't going to understand that. You know, they're going to say, oh, you know, you're the woman that had an affair with this man who took out his whole family. And
it's Chris Watts' handwriting. It's like, how much more can you be like slapped in the face to the DA? Be like, hello, like all this is in front of you and you're not doing nothing. What does that say?
I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know. Like,
The acting.
It's
ridiculous.
He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and I just...
You should be ashamed of what you did. From the city of Chicago. Man, she's got an intro.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great weekend, a great week, whatever day it is that you're watching this video. Today, we are getting into part 1 of my deep dive on the Watts case. If you are unfamiliar with this case or you need a recap before...
And it's shocking, to say the least, that there are people that still don't know about this case, that are just getting into crime and true crime content and so forth. And they're like, holy crap, of how many years it's been passed. And it's still like one of the most talked about cases out there.
For the deep dive, you can check out my last video. I'll put the link up
subscribe
at the top right of the screen right now. What that video contains is the most talked about narrative when it comes to the Watts case. But here at UMTC, we go beyond the narrative. We look at everything. And I mean everything we can possibly uncover. We think critically, we take all sides into consideration, steering clear of conspiracy theories, but being unafraid to ask the hard questions that deserve answers. And we bring up things that may be uncomfortable to address. We also go over sometimes boring but very important topics wherever needed to understand the entire picture. I mean, I do, but I take you guys with me and we research cases together and we learn together. One thing I do stand by is that we do not victim blame. We do not engage in hateful or derogatory comments towards anyone. We can have opinions and we can share them respectfully.
I like this woman.
This is true crime. These are people's lives.
Amen.
And I take that very seriously. But the truth is the truth. And I will never apologize for speaking the truth. The Watts case was a requested case study that I was more than ready to take on because I've been wanting to look into this case for a very long time. There were a few reasons that I didn't. One was that YouTube has been saturated with this case. I mean, there are channels devoted to this case alone. And
which again is not my channel. I have way more content than just crime. Okay, go check it out.
I usually prefer to bring attention to cases that aren't getting as much coverage. Another reason that I didn't dive into this sooner is because I had a feeling that it was going to be very complex. And after spending the last few weeks on Watts Island, complex is a drastic understatement. But the main reason that I hesitated on this case was because of the children, Bella, Celeste, and unborn baby Nico. Crimes of murder are always tragic, but when they involve children, it's really hard. As a mother with a 3.5-year-old right now, I find it very hard to imagine anything happening to her, let alone what happened to Bella and Cece, who were virtually the same age. It hits very close to home.
Amen.
Also, I was in the same position as Shanann Watts when I was about the same age. It was a long time ago, and I won't get into it other than to say that I had 2 young daughters and a baby on the way when my divorce began. The situation was very similar, and I shudder to think that Shanann's story could have just as easily been my story. It could be anybody's story. Life does not always have a fairy tale ending, even if it looks like a fairy tale on Facebook. But enough of my ADHD chit-chat. Let's begin the deep dive into the ever so mind-blowing case of Christopher Watts and Nichol Kessinger. At this point, I'm pretty sure many of you are already familiar with this case, just as I have been over the last few years, but up until now, that's all I was, familiar with it. I had the gist of it down. It's a filicide case where a man by the name of Chris Watts snapped one morning and annihilated his entire family. His 15-week pregnant wife, Shanann, and his 2 young daughters, Bella, 4, and Celeste, 3. Like I said, I knew it was going to be complex, but damn. I had no idea the rabbit hole I would fall down. I'm not even sure how I'm going to present all of these videos just yet, but I guess I'll just dive right in and go from there. On the early afternoon of August 13th, 2018, a 911 call was made by a friend of Shanann Watts. A woman by the name of Nichol Kessinger was...
I can tell you again, I can't believe I have to say this, but there are people that are blaming Nichol Kessinger, and it's just very, very, like, upsetting, because this woman loved Shanann as her best friend, sister. I've seen her YouTube videos, and just, like, when you can tell people, like, how they are, their mannerisms and stuff like that, I feel like I'm a good active character when I meet somebody. I'm like, oh yeah, you're a pretty cool person. You're a dirtbag. Like, I could literally do that with Nichol Kessinger with not even knowing her. Shake her hand, be like, yep, you are everything I want to say, with the H word, the B word, all these things, or not the H word, the W word. And but if I would shake Nichol Atkinson's hand, I feel like she's a fun, thriving individual that likes to go on trips. And I mean, just, you get that from, like, I just feel like I can pick out good characters. And I can tell you right now, Nichol Atkinson, I feel, is a good character. Chris Watts, no. Nichol Kessinger, no. D.A. Rourke, no. Cindy Watts, no. Ronnie, I'm having, like, a hiccup. Like, I know he's had a bad past, but he seems like somewhat of a genuine man or son and so forth like that. So I just wanted to put that 2 cents in there, just because Nichol Atkinson, if it wasn't for her, this case, I feel, would have went a whole different direction. It would have not been the same that it is now. It would have gone off on its total different tangent. So
was concerned that she was unable to get a hold of her friend, and that it was very out of character.
I love the way the color looks
Shanann
now.
to not respond to anyone. After Nichol went to the home, she learned from Shanann's husband, Chris, that not only was Shanann gone, but the girls were also gone. There were a few things that were not gone, though, and that was Shanann Watts' phone and purse, which also contained an EpiPen for Cece's tree nut allergy. Nichol also noticed that Shanann's shoes were still by the front door. All of these things in combination set off alarm bells, and Nichol desperately wanted to file a missing persons report. Now, obviously, Nichol Atkinson and Nichol Kessinger are 2 completely different people. If you're not familiar with the case, I just wanted to make that known.
Clear.
Because it can get confusing, considering I'm using the name Nichol a lot in this video.
All County Communications.
My name's Nicole, and I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine. She's not answering the door. She's not responding to text messages, phone calls, and there's no movement in the house whatsoever.
That 911 call would open up a Pandora's box of sorts, because, you see, Shanann Watts had built a pretty decent sized and very public presence on social media.
And I think, too, that with it being that Shanann was so publicly driven on her business of Thrive and Lavelle, I don't think this case would have gotten the limelight that it would have gotten if it wasn't her online, if that makes sense.
Media, and by most outward appearances, the Watts family seemed to have the American dream. A beautiful 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom custom home in a developing neighborhood, 2 healthy and beautiful daughters, and a son on the way. This public social media appearance was mainly due to Shanann Watts, who was working as a seller for Thrive and was...
And there's still people that are like, well, it wasn't Shanann that did this. She didn't make all the money. She made the same, if not more. Chris even validated it. Can we believe him? No, because the man spits out lies. But I've looked at Lavelle people, like their income and stuff like that when it comes to the same that she would be in, or if not higher. They're making pretty good money. So
frequently live on Facebook, and many times Chris and the kids were in these lives, sampling the products from Thrive, baking with Shanann, or just making cute little cameos. Shanann was very open on Facebook, and she shared a lot, as you will see throughout this series. The following day after Shanann and her 2 daughters were reported missing, a woman was brought into the police department after telling them she needed to speak to someone about the Watts missing
because the FBI found out about her and she's like, oh crap, I gotta go do damage control.
Persons case. The woman's name was Nichol Kessinger, and Nichol wanted law enforcement to know that she had been having an affair with Chris Watts, the husband and father of the missing woman and children. She said that she went to law enforcement on her own because she wanted to get ahead of things, and she wanted to help bring Shanann and the kids home in any way possible.
Exactly where
We
they were.
introduced ourselves in the lobbies and earlier, so we're just going to do that again real quick. My name is Kevin Kovac. I'm with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. We're assisting the Frederick Police Department with this case involving Chris Watts. And Nicole, can you just introduce yourself for the recording?
Nichol Kessinger.
You came here on your own free will to talk to us. We picked you up at your request and brought you here. You can get up and leave at any time. You don't have to talk to us. If there's a question you don't want to answer, don't answer it. If you don't want to talk anymore, just tell me I want to leave. You're not being interrogated as a criminal suspect. We're here to understand your relationship.
They should have not said that to her. I wish they would have worded it better, that she's not a criminal. I feel that she's in a criminal. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of criminal.
With Chris and what you know about Chris and his family and events relating to Chris Watts. And do you know him as Chris or Christopher?
Either one.
Okay.
Though that wasn't exactly the truth. In fact, many things that Nichol would claim throughout law enforcement's investigation of the Watts case would end up not being true, and her story would be
So this is funny what I've read too. After the sentencing, the district attorney releases all case evidence. That's a lie, because he literally said in one of his interviews that he released what he felt was what the public should know. There's more stuff he stated, including the voluntary interview with Chris' mistress, Nichol Kessinger. I feel there's more that they're not showing.
Inconsistent and change quite frequently. Allegedly, Nichol Kessinger didn't know that law enforcement already knew about the affair. They had found out the night before she called them through Chris's place of employment, which also, as it turns out, was Nichole's place of employment as well, Anadarko Petroleum. It's been rumored that Nichol knew that the relationship was going to be exposed to law enforcement after emails were found on Chris's company computer or cell phone, and that is the real reason she went to them immediately, not because of any real concern for Shanann and
because I've always said that these emails are showing when Chris and Nichol wanted police and the public to think when they met. I don't think this was when they met, because Nichol Kessinger Googled Shanann and Chris a year before the murders happened. This is roughly 3-ish months beforehand. Like, I don't feel like I loved, was in deep love with anybody that short, but it's like 3 months and you're already looking at all this? I don't know.
The girls, as she originally told law enforcement. That again is just conjecture. So the plot thickened right away. This was not just a family matter. There was infidelity involved, and police were not buying the quote-unquote missing story that Chris was telling, especially now that they knew he had been having an affair. The same day Nichol talked with law enforcement is the same day that Chris Watts gave his first confession. August 15th of 2018, in Chris's second interview, he initially repeated the same statement from the day before, where he told SA Coder that he and Shanann discussed a potential divorce in the morning. And when they finished talking, Chris went to work. Chris stated that he was involved in an extramarital affair with a woman named Nikki. He stated that he and Shanann
Gross.
spoke about marital issues, but he wasn't able to admit to her that he was involved sexually with Nikki. Chris continued to state that he, quote, did not do anything to those girls, unquote. And just a quick side note here, he refers to his daughters as those girls or these girls.
Which is messed up.
Every time he speaks of them.
I would sit there and say, my girls, my children. Like, he says, I did not hurt those girls. Like, he's already placing them out of his life.
Completely removing himself from being their father, in my opinion. I mean,
but yet he still tells people that he's a father.
That's the way Nichol Kessinger describes his family. That woman, those girls, those two. Not once does Chris say my daughters or my girls during questioning, which I red flagged immediately.
Amen.
At one point during the interview, Chris asked if he could speak to his father, whom had just flown in from North Carolina, and the detectives allowed his father.
And there is discrepancies up in the air if some people think that Chris told Ronnie in the car or Chris didn't tell them. I feel that Cindy and Ronnie knew of another woman. I don't think they knew that it was Nichol Kessinger. But because I still think that Cindy would have just stated that no girl was good for her son. But again, I still think that they knew about a new woman because, like Cindy said, that, oh, Chris finally found the light. Like, are you kidding me? I still feel that they knew about it. I feel that Chris told his dad and was like, Dad, I don't know what to do. Please tell me what to do. And yeah, that's pretty much what I think.
Father into the room to talk with Chris. Chris told his father that he had failed a polygraph test, and his father asked him if there was any
-4 is failing. He was a -14.
reason that he shouldn't. His father then asked, quote, is there anything else you want to tell me? What is going on? Unquote. Chris told his father, quote, I don't want to protect her. I don't know what else to say. Unquote. Chris's father then asked whether Shanann hurt the girls, and Chris replied, yeah. Chris said that he heard a commotion upstairs, but he didn't think anything of it. In regards to Shanann, Chris said that in her heart, I know she knew about the affair. She was just waiting for me to say something and for me to deny it again, and she just lost it. At that point, S.A. Coder and S.A. Lee returned to the room and asked Chris if he would repeat.
I really wish Coder and Lee would have been able to interrogate Nichol, because I feel it would have been a different direction again in the case. The Kobach that was doing Nichol Kessinger, probably, who knows? Just I feel like he was talking to his buddy.
Repeat the things that he had said to his father. Chris stated that after he had his early morning conversation with Shanann, she knew what was going on with his affair. He continued to deny his affair and continued to tell her that he was at a Rockies game. Chris stated that he went downstairs, he began to pack for work, he heard a couple of things upstairs but didn't think anything of it. He went upstairs to talk to Shanann again and saw on the monitor that Bella's covers were pulled off and she was just lying there. Chris stated that he freaked out and he ran into Cece's room, got on top of Shanann. He stated that Cece was blue. He said, I did.
They were not choked. They were smothered. So nice one, bonehead.
The same thing to her being Shanann. Chris stated that he felt horrible for what he did to Shanann and for what she did to the kids.
Horrible he got
Chris
caught.
stated that Shanann killed both girls by choking them and that he did the same thing to her. Chris then provided information stating that Shanann was in a hole in the ground that he dug and that the girls were in an oil tank that he placed them in. Chris marked the burial site of Shanann on a map. Chris stated that he buried his wife in a t-shirt and underwear and the girls were put into the oil tanks in their pajamas. They asked for Chris to confirm that his wife killed the girls first and then he killed her, and Chris stated that Shanann killed the girls and then he killed her. Chris stated that the reason that he put Shanann in the ground and the girls in the tanks was because that was where he was going that day and he didn't know what else to do. He stated that he didn't call 911 because he didn't.
I feel that this place of the Survey 319 had somewhat of validity in like chosen place of disposal. He did Google oil, like how long does it take for things to degrade in oil and so forth like that. But he separated Bella and Celeste from Shanann because he was angry with Shanann.
Didn't know what else to do. Now, what I really want to get into is Nichol Kessinger, because a lot of people are torn on whether or not she should also be paying some legal consequences for this crime. And there are a lot of reasons why. Best believe we're going to get into all of it. So please be patient and make sure you listen to the entire video. In fact, we should do something. Let's do something before I get into the nitty gritty. What if you comment right now what your opinion is on Nichol Kessinger? What do you
I can tell you right now, looking at all her comments, it's not good for her.
think about her and her involvement or lack thereof, and whether or not you think she needs to hold some sort of accountability? Then I'll ask you to do the same thing either at the end of this video or series, whichever it ends up being, and see if your opinion has changed or stayed the same. Because what I've noticed about my videos is so many people make their minds up right away without listening to the entire thing, and they don't realize that they missed out on a lot of information. I'm going through the case with you. You may know everything that there is to know about a case that I'm covering right now, but there are so many watching this video right now who don't know everything. And because of that, I'm making sure to start from the beginning. Trust, I have read all 2,000 pages of discovery, listened to every interrogation video, and I have even watched tons and tons of Shanann's home videos, as well as family interviews with the Watts and the Ruszczyk families, body cam footage, you name it. I began my research on Wednesday, March 20th, and I have spent every day since researching this case with any free time I had, in addition to work time I set out. I got you. Give me a chance, okay? Simmer down back there. This is just part one. This particular deep dive is more about Nichol Kessinger and how she fits into the story. Therefore, we need to know who Nichol Kessinger is, who she was before starting a relationship with
a lot about her.
Watts. So let's do it. Nichol Kessinger is a Colorado native. She was born in 1988 and graduated Colorado State University in
It's sickening that I share the same year as her.
2013 with a bachelor's degree in geology. She began her career in bookkeeping with the hopes of slowly progressing to the position of geology engineer. Her father, Dwayne Kessinger, is also an engineer and is actually a pretty big deal in Colorado, from what I have seen. Most recently for his involvement in respirators to help aid COVID-19 patients back when there weren't enough respirators to go around during that surge in 2020. Now, I don't know much about that, but I do know that he was somehow involved in the engineering of field respirators, and it was because of the shortage, so it was a big deal. Many people had assumed that Dwayne Kessinger had ties to law enforcement, and that's why Nichol Kessinger wasn't ever considered a suspect or even a person of interest in the murders. But none of those claims have any solid proof to back them up. Though it is possible, I can't deny, I do feel, however, he was a respected member of the community, which may have been helpful to Nichol Kessinger. But if necessary, we will get more into Dwayne later on. In regards to Nichole's workplaces, she was associated with Halliburton, one of the largest oil field service companies, and the environmental consulting and construction company Tasman Geosciences. Later on, Nichol started working with Anadarko Petroleum, which is now owned by Occidental Petroleum, a company that engages in hydrocarbon explorations. It was during her employment at Anadarko where Nichol Kessinger met Chris Watts.
Still think it was sooner.
But before any of that, Nichol had a record. She had a past that was kept hidden from everyone and could have very well.
And some people think this photo is doctored, or it's a senior picture. This does not look like a senior picture.
Been the reason that Chris went from wanting a jury trial to accepting a plea deal pretty much out of the blue. Before even speaking with the FBI, Nichol had already been considered a protected witness by Frederick police. Law enforcement never verified her alibi or any information she had given them. They simply just handed her that status of protected witness. Why? I don't know. One thing I want to...
So I think there's a difference between witness protection and protected witness. I feel like she wasn't a witness. They were protecting her for that moment, but I don't feel like she went into a witness protection program because of all the stuff that I've been given. I got stuff. I'll tell you that right now. And she's not in the protective witness program. And if she is, she's with being protected by her father, not law enforcement.
Reiterate before I go any further is that Chris Watts took a plea deal. And I said this in regards to the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case and other cases as well. When you take a plea deal and you avoid a trial, there are a lot of things that are able to be kept from the public. They're able to be kept a secret. I have explained plea bargains as being a win-win situation in certain...
I feel, yeah, okay, he's in prison, but I feel to him, he's getting like he should be put on the death penalty. He's getting to talk to women. He's getting to talk to his family, talk to his buddies and stuff like that. Shanann can't. His daughters can't. His unborn child can't. So...
cases, the prosecution gets their guilty verdict and the guilty party gets to kind of save face and not have all of their dirty laundry aired out as it would be if there were a trial. Also,
so bad.
DA Michael Rourke spoke out on Nichol Kessinger's behalf, saying that they had no reason to investigate her any further, saying...
I still have heard that apparently DA Rourke and Dwayne Kessinger apparently are golf buddies. I don't know if that's factual, but it would definitely be a jaw drop.
Quote, "This is not a witch hunt," unquote. But directly prior to this statement, he admitted that while Nichol came to the FBI of her own volition, she had in fact deleted all correspondence between she and Chris Watts, leaving them with very little data or digital footprint to go off of in regards to their relationship. Key pieces of what Chris Watts was up to the days leading up to the murder.
She originally came forward and spoke to investigators on her own volition. Prior to the time, unfortunately, that she came in and spoke with investigators, she had deleted all of the information off of her phone that had any connection between her and Chris Watts. That hampered the investigation.
Right there. Hampering the investigation. That's an actual felony.
That hampered our ability to get that electronic digital connection between the two. She was interviewed on multiple occasions. I believe that for the most part she was forthcoming.
I believe for the most part? Do you want to hear that from somebody that's trying to put bad guys away? You want to hear that they're going to do everything in their power to make sure every criminal is put behind bars. But for the most part?
In the course of those investigations, we don't have any reason to believe that she had any prior knowledge or involvement in the death of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. I think that's the best way I can answer that.
Now, I just want you guys to keep all of that in mind throughout this video, okay? I also want you to keep two words specifically in mind while watching any of NK's interviews, questioning, whatever you want to call it. Pathological liar.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? We'll get into that during educational purposes time. I also wanted to say that there are a number of channels out there that are dedicated to this case. One of the best ones that I have seen, it's not just a Watts channel, but he does go into all of this and he's very, very good. The channel is called Behind Criminal Minds. And the one video that I watched
I thought she was talking about me. Dang it.
far is called Nichol Kessinger's Dark Past. And he does have a couple of videos on Kessinger. I'm going to put the link to that channel in the description box below. Another one is Watts the Obsession. I think the creator's name is Kelly. I've watched a lot of her videos too during this, and I'm going to continue to, because these are people that are really just looking at facts. And that's what we're about here. While we may discuss theories and we may speculate on certain things, we do that off of facts and evidence, right? We don't do that off of hearsay and rumors. So All right, I'm gonna shut up now, but I'm gonna put those two for sure in the description box below, and any channels that I get stuff from. If I don't type it out on the screen, it'll be listed into the description box below. Okay, so where are we at? Oh yeah, that's right. Nichol Kessinger's criminal background. On September 9th of 2006, Nichol Kessinger was arrested for possession and consumption of alcohol by a minor. Not a major deal. I mean, she was 19 years old at the time, and kids will be kids, right? But this was actually her second offense. August 30th of 2006, she was charged with driving without a license, and it has a slash alcohol related. And if you notice, her BAC, or blood alcohol content, was all zeros on each charge, which means she either refused to blow, which depending on where you live can be mandatory suspension of your license, because here where I live, or she wasn't drinking, though consumption would suggest that she was drinking, right? Yet somehow her cases were all completely dismissed. Not even community service or probation noted.
No jail time.
It would appear to me that she's a very lucky girl. Like, she can just do whatever she wants and not have to worry about any sort of legal consequence. Tell me how a person learns a lesson when they are never held accountable. I mean, as a child, if you're not held accountable, as a teen, if you're not held accountable, what type of adult are you going to be? I wonder if Daddy was present for all of those charges, because one thing I do know from experience is how the court system works. The only way she would have gotten out of these without a scratch on her record is if she had a lawyer that was either cool with the judge or family that was cool with the judge. Again, just my opinion based on personal experience. I also do feel like manipulation can play a part even in the courtroom. Now, there's one other allegation that has been made against Nichol Kessinger, one that no one can confirm legally because she was a minor when it allegedly happened. However, I've seen it a few times during my research on a few different channels.
Oh, is this when she got caught by that other married couple, or the married woman?
And I think this comment originated from a Facebook group pertaining to this case, but it is said to be legit. I talked about the channel Behind Criminal Minds a minute ago, and it's in one of his videos that he spoke with the person who made this comment. At least that's what I think he said, and confirmed that they were a reputable source. How? I don't exactly know, so take this with a grain of salt, take it for what it's worth, whatever. But the comment read, quote, "My wife and I were close family friends with her parents," being Nichol Kessinger. "Our children grew up with theirs. Nichol was always a problem child, and especially so when she was a teen, as her record would show. I just want to say that she stabbed me in the back with a kitchen knife and was arrested and charged with a felony. However, the judge deferred her felony conviction if she could stay out of trouble. This incident divided both families, and we have not spoken since that last court appearance. This happened in 2004 or 2005, I can't remember exactly what year, in Aurora, Colorado. Anyway, she is entirely capable of being involved in the murders. She is a narcissist and violent," unquote. Now, while there are no court records available to prove this because she was a minor and the records would have been sealed, there was also another comment with even more information posted in response by the same man. And that comment reads, quote, "I was asked to watch Bob and Rob's home while they were away on vacation, with instructions that Nichol under no circumstances was to be inside the home while they were away. Her sister, who was staying with us, went by to get more clothing. My wife and her," I'm guessing Nichole's sister, "walked in on Nichol and a guy having oral sex on the couch in the family room. After doing her best to try to remove both to no avail, she called me. Long story short, a physical altercation occurred between the male and myself, and which during that altercation, Nichol stabbed me in the back with a kitchen knife pulled from the butcher's block. My wife interceded, getting the knife away, and both fled, but both were quickly arrested after my wife called 911, unquote. So this, again, is alleged, and the only way we may ever have it verified is if Nichol Kessinger is actually investigated, because yes, minor files are sealed from public, but they're not gone. The court would still have record of this. So if Nichol Kessinger is actually investigated, maybe that comes out. And believe me, there's a lot to investigate when it comes to Nichol Kessinger. Moving to present day, Nichol had a total of 5 interviews with law enforcement, and some of those were by phone. One of her correspondences with Detective Kobach was via text message, and she even had texted Detective Kobach at 2 a.m. asking questions.
So what, you texted me about 2 a.m. and said that you remembered some other information. What did you remember?
Like, just kind of odds and ends. And I'm sure there will be more as this goes on.
Something that I noticed was how nonchalant Nichol was in all of these
She talked to Kobach like he was just an acquaintance, like buddy kind of thing.
Interrogations, especially the videos where you could see her body language. The August 16th, 2015 interview with her father present was especially disturbing to watch. At that time, Chris had confessed to killing Shanann, and many people believed that despite him saying that Shanann killed the girls, he had to have been the one to actually do it, that Shanann would never have done something like that. Now, Nichol does break down in that interview at about the hour and 30-minute mark, and it's very short. She recovers very quickly.
He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and I just... all those little girls.
Such fake.
So little. They're so little.
She's trying so hard to cry.
We talked a little bit earlier about getting some help for these things, and we can provide that.
Okay.
At really no cost. Through the state.
One more we just want to make sure there's resolution.
Absolutely.
That's why we come to you guys to pound it down until there's
I'm
nothing left.
sorry that you're talking again today. I really am. I don't.
Pound it out until there's nothing left.
Kobach makes a comment about how he doesn't want to put her through any more trauma and apologizes to her.
Trauma?
She then whips up another batch of crocodile tears, in my opinion. She goes on to describe how little the girls are and has another breakdown where her dad gets up and has to comfort her.
Because we need this video, and I am sorry because I know it's hard to talk about it. But
it's so sad, and she's pregnant.
And you know what? On our end, we didn't.
And they're so cute. They're so little. Like,
Why?
Why? How? I don't even understand how you could like bring yourself to do that to somebody who's like that big.
She never met them. Wait, what was that saying? Chris confessed to the murdering Shanann only. How does Nichol know he killed the girl? Wait. Is this something I overlooked? That is true that he only confessed to murdering Shanann. He didn't say the girls yet. I never even thought about that. He did not confess to the girls being murdered because he said that Shanann did it. But that wasn't put out there. It was that Chris confessed to murdering Shanann. Anyone know who that or knew Chris did not believe that he could ever have killed the girls? Yet Nichol never second guessed that it was Chris and not Shanann, as Chris stated. Such fakeness. And watch.
Oh, Jesus.
Take a minute. Do you want to step out for a minute?
No, I just need to chill with my eyes closed for a sec. I still cannot believe this is happening.
Such a faker.
Alright. Let's keep going, because we're just getting to like the meat of this whole situation.
Let's get to the phone call on Saturday from 9 to 11.
Now, I thought she never saw the girls in person. She says she has never seen the girls in person, and I highly doubt that Chris would have ever let her see the girls in person.
Yep.
Because according to him, she wouldn't even allow Bella to talk to her grandfather, Chris's dad, because Shanann was fighting with them at the time, and he was afraid that Bella would tell. So I am damn near positive Chris would never have brought Nichol around the girls. But the way she puts her hand to her side here and says, quote, "They were like that big."
See,
unquote.
That's what I thought too.
That, to me, seems like she had met them in person. But that's entirely speculation. I haven't heard anyone point that out yet. Maybe it's just me who noticed.
You didn't watch my channel.
I don't know. Maybe making more out of it than I should. But that's when she really breaks down. When she's describing how little the girls were, as if she's remembering seeing them for herself in person. This is at, I'm going to show it to you right now, but just for reference, this is at 1 hour and 40 minutes and 20 seconds of that FBI interview. And again, this is entirely speculation. Body language is not my specialty. Anyway, she looks at the camera, she puts her face in her hands, and then looks up again to see if there are reactions, in my opinion. And then she puts her face back in her hands and sobs more.
She's pretty good
but
at
when she finally stops, I noticed she didn't even wipe her eyes or face right after. And by 1 hour, 41 minutes and 48 seconds, she's talking like everything's fine again. I don't know. It's just what I see. She's asked about a 111-minute phone conversation that she and Chris had on Monday night. You know, the night before his whole family went missing. And Nichol describes it as just a regular conversation. She even says, quote, "I don't know what we talked about. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you."
Okay.
Unquote.
Let's keep going, because we're just getting to like the meat of this whole situation.
Let's get to the phone call on Saturday from 9 to 11. What did you guys, or pardon me, on Sunday from 9 to 11?
Crap.
Yeah, we talked a few times. So, Sunday night, I don't even know. I don't think I was like concerned about anything at that point.
You guys had had a meal, a nice meal the night before. You knew his wife was probably coming home late that evening.
Oh, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. I like, honestly, like, we talked about so much random stuff. Like, it's so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I do remember that was a long phone conversation that we probably talked about all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember earlier when I was talking to Mark. So this is like where I'm starting to remember like little bits and pieces. I don't remember. Yeah, I know. So the phone conversation, I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you.
Interestingly enough, this phone conversation is not in the 1,960 pages of discovery. It is not in the otherwise extremely detailed timeline. And something else I noticed was that Nichol had a hard time deciding whether or not she went through the garage at the Watts house to gain access into the home at any of the times that she had been there. She can't quite place the way she entered the home each time.
The first time she went through the front door, because they said that, she said that they sat in the carpet in the front room because he had just cleaned them. But the second time, she didn't state which one she went through. But she did sit there and say that she watched him put in the code for the garage, so they must have went in the garage that time.
Sure, she had gone through the front door and definitely went in through the garage at some point, but doesn't remember which time.
Something I didn't ask you about the house because you'd been there twice, and it just made me remember. Do you remember how you guys accessed the house?
That's a good question. So once through the garage, and I think once through the front door. I think the first time was through the front door, I think. And I think the second time was through the garage.
Was there anything unique about either of the doors when you went into the house that might not be typical of another house?
Like a unique door?
Not the door itself.
On their door.
Okay, there's a camera on the, which door?
It's on the front door, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm asking
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Did he use a key to access the house?
No, he did not. The first time I went over there, he just let me in. And then the second time, did we go through the garage?
So she can remember that, but she can't remember what's on a phone call?
I don't remember. I've been through his garage before. I went through his front door once, though. I remember he had just cleaned.
I bet he's been through her garage. All nastiness of that garage.
It was the first time I went through his front door. Because he had just cleaned his carpets, and he had moved all the furniture out of the way, and the furniture was kind of in the way of the door. And he's like, the door doesn't open all the way right now. I'll move all the furniture back when the carpet dries. So I do remember that, just kind of offhandedly. And the second time, I want to say we went through his garage, because I remember his garage. I remember, yeah.
So he was at the house when you went there. You were never there by yourself.
He was at,
or he took you there.
But she does say they had to have gone through his garage one of the times that she went there because she remembers the garage. Now, at this point, she has only admitted to being at the Watts home twice. So, which time? Or were you there more than twice? We do find out she was actually there 3 times, but it's interesting. So take that as you will. A majority of the time that she's talking, it's about what a wonderful person she is and how she wasn't that serious about the relationship, but Chris was just so infatuated with her, basically. She says many times that she encouraged Chris to try to fix things with his wife, that she gave him space to do that, and she enjoyed her space as well.
I really was under the impression that they were separating. Like, he could pretty much call me whenever he wanted. Like, I was the one that would tell him, like, hey, when your kids are awake, you need to spend time with your kids. Like, do that. And then after they go to bed, like, if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. And originally it wasn't, but it was me that put that time frame on there because I thought he should hang out with his kids.
One of the biggest times, she says that she backed off and gave Chris this time to work things out with Shanann was during his trip to North Carolina.
Yeah, she was sending him a whole bunch of provocative videos and clips and images.
Shanann had taken the kids back to North Carolina, where both she and Chris are from, to visit family and set up some networking for the business she was working for called Thrive. She was there for 6 weeks, and that last week that she was there, Chris went to join her. According to Nichol, Chris was going to, quote unquote, make it work.
Yeah, he flew out there, and I thought I had, like, convinced him to, like, try to make peace with her. So, he still made very frequent communication with me when he was out there. I really tried to take everything with this whole situation very slow. The only part that I screwed up on was the fact that he wasn't completely separated from her when him and I decided to spend time with each other. That is where I screwed up. But other than that, everything else, it was always like, you know, you build your life, I'm going to build my life, we will intertwine them, but I am not ready to, like,
I miss your face.
And he respected that. And I even said that, and I don't know, that might be in the text, but said that too, where it's like, Chris, like, you need space. Like, you're just getting out of a divorce. Like, personally, I think jumping into a new relationship is a little quick. I was trying to just make his life convenient with, like, him, his ex, his kids, and all the stuff that he needs to do and work.
And during this trip, Nichol was going to do her own thing. She was going to give him that time to be with his family. Yet, during that week, Chris's family would give statements that he was extremely distant with Shanann, cold even, that he hardly talked to her at all, and was even somewhat standoffish with the kids too. I guess they had all gone out to dinner, and Chris had gotten up a few times from the dinner table and walked off. Shanann texted her good friend Addie about Chris's cold demeanor towards her, and here are some of the things she said. On August 7th, 2018, 5:17 p.m., Shanann told Addie, quote, Chris told me last night he's scared to death about this third baby, and he's happy with just Bella and Celeste and doesn't want another baby.
He's the one that wanted it.
Addie comforted Shanann, telling her Chris is just scared and everything will be fine once the baby is born. Shanann replied, quote, he has changed. I don't know who he is, unquote. Addie asked what she means, and Shanann replied, quote, he hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me, except for when I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. He's been distant since I left, unquote. Later on in their conversation, Shanann told Addie, quote, I told him last night I don't feel safe with him after what he said about the baby, and if he loves me, he would hold me and tell me it will be okay. Give me something. And he did nothing but go to bed, unquote. Shanann also confides in another friend by the name of Sarah in text correspondence from August 8th of 2018, just after they came back from North Carolina. At 7:24 p.m., Sarah asked Shanann if they were doing any better. Shanann replied, quote, no, with a big fat exclamation point. It's so bad, and I don't know what to do. He told me he doesn't want this baby, and he's happy with just Bella and Celeste. He thought he wanted another one. I'm so sick to my stomach. Tried to have sex with him last night just to see if that would help, and he rejected me.
So that lie that he sat there and said that he was sleeping with Shanann that night that she came home, I don't believe for a second.
Quote, Shanann said she hasn't cried this hard ever. Shanann added, quote, he says he feels there's a lack of communication, and it's not from me. I sent him 12 texts over the month begging him to talk to me. He fell asleep at 7 or 8 p.m. Shanann also told Sarah, quote, I tried talking to him after the rejection last night and me crying for an hour alone on the couch. He slept. I kicked his sorry ass out of bed and I refused to sleep on the couch anymore this week. Told him this morning not to come home today if he can't tell me the damn truth on what the hell is wrong, unquote. Shanann went on to say, we are supposed to go to ultrasound tonight and he doesn't want this baby. He'd abort it if I said it was okay, unquote. Now, I just want to be clear here. We don't know if he actually said that or if that's just how he's making Shanann feel at this point. I mean, clearly, if someone says that they don't want the baby that you guys are having, your mind's going to start going to crazy places. Like, well, what does that mean? You want me to end the pregnancy? And I'm sure at this point she was so pissed off and fed up that her mind had just taken over. I mean, when you're asking your partner about serious things and you're not getting any answer or any response, your mind's automatically going to start filling in the blanks. You're going to start to assume that what you're thinking is true because you don't have your partner telling you that you're wrong. You don't have your partner explaining any of this odd behavior. And in their case, this happened very quickly over a very short span of time. Shanann told Sarah, quote, he said he's not having an affair, unquote. Sarah asked Shanann if she's certain of this, and Shanann replied, quote, honestly, I don't know what else would make him do a complete 360. We couldn't get enough of each other before I left, unquote. Messages like this continue between Shanann and a few of her friends. So I think it's fair to say that Chris did not try to, quote unquote, make it work at all in North Carolina. There are many text messages between Shanann and Chris during that North Carolina trip where it's been said by her friends that when those texts were occurring, Shanann and Chris were in the exact same room as each other, but sitting on opposite sides and just texting back and forth as opposed to actually talking.
That's crazy.
And we're going to get into those text messages and all of that a bit later on in the series. I also believe it is fair to say that Nichol Kessinger did not give Chris any space during that trip to even try to make it work anyway.
Yeah, he flew out there, and I thought I had, convinced him to, try to make peace with her. And I was like, if you guys work on this, I'm out. Because what's the point? I'm not trying to be with somebody that's in another relationship, which I know that sounds silly given the whole relationship that we had in the first place, but I know what you're talking about. North Carolina.
Go back to North Carolina.
So, North Carolina.
The entire time Chris was in North Carolina, Nichol was blowing up his phone with insecure messages and nude photos of herself. In her interview, she even made a comment about Shanann.
But for the most part, we don't think she's involved.
Shanann being the other woman. While Chris was in North Carolina trying to make it work with Shanann, he had sent a text message to Nichol telling her, I love you. She told law enforcement her reply to that text message was, quote, don't tell me you love me and then go lay in bed with another woman, unquote.
I really try to take everything with this whole situation very slow. The only part that I screwed up on was the fact that he wasn't completely separated from her when him and I decided to spend time with each other. That is where I screwed up. But other than that, everything else, it was always you build your life, I'm going to build my life, we will intertwine them. but I am not ready to like do this. I even said that, and I don't know, that might be in the text, but said that too, where it's like, Chris, like, you need space. Like, you're just getting out of a divorce. Like, personally, I think jumping into a new relationship is a little quick. It's like, I was in a relationship earlier this year, and I think this is also a little quick. And I'm like, so why don't we take our time? I don't even want to see you every day. I'm like, I think we should spend like a few days of that together. I'm like, because I like my space, and I think you need your space. I think you need your space to like develop your identity again and like get it back, because I think he's just been like so wrapped up in this whole thing that he's got in his own life and his life that he doesn't remember probably what it's like to like be single or have time where it's like just him.
Sure.
And so I was just like, like embrace that. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I really try to like take it smart with all that. And it was the same thing with his kids, and he wanted to see me more. I was the one who wanted my space. I was like, nope, your kids are home, go hang out with your kids. And even on Wednesday I cut it short. Like, he came and hang out with me for a few hours, and then I was like, go chill with your kids. We got along really well. He gave me my space when I needed it. I gave him his. Whenever they were home, I made sure that I wasn't a presence in his life so that he could be the best dad that he needed to be. And I mean, I thought what we had, it was very comfortable for me. I enjoyed it. I think he did very much as well.
You and your bud
You
stuff.
guys, 6 to 8 weeks, 2 months, whatever it was, you guys had an intimate relationship during that time.
Yes.
Okay. So you're pretty serious.
The dad's like, oh my gosh, here we go again.
Did he ever tell you that he loved you?
Yes, he did.
Did you ever tell him the same?
A couple times.
Okay. Notwithstanding that today, because those thoughts may have changed for you, but on, let's go Sunday into Monday or Monday, did you still love him on those days?
I think it was something where it was like I said it a few times and I meant it, but he definitely felt the urge to say it to me a lot more than I did to him, because it was just all very new to me, and it was like, take your time with this. Like, you don't need to like rush that, Like, I remember when he was in North Carolina and he was like trying to patch things up with his wife, and he told me he loved me, and I was like, don't say that to me. Like, please go try to fit. And I mean, and that might even mean the text.
Does anybody believe this? I don't believe this.
It's like, don't say those words to me and then go try to make peace with your wife and lay in bed with another woman.
Hold up.
You mean his wife that you yourself said to try to make it work with? See what I mean about contradictions and Nichol Kessinger? At the beginning of this investigation into Chris, Detective Kobach was the detective who was assigned to question Nichol Kessinger. Throughout his entire time speaking with Nichol, Detective Kobach never obtained any real information from Nichol. And the info he did receive that was so blatantly obvious to everyone else within her questioning either went unnoticed by Kobach, which I find hard to believe, or ignored. I also found it to be extremely strange that Nichol's alibi was never confirmed by law enforcement.
Never.
Let me just break this down in general terms, okay? A woman comes forward saying that she's the mistress of a man whose entire family has just been murdered. That man is the prime suspect of the crimes. And the mistress says she's going to help in any way she can, including giving up her phone if necessary. She admits to speaking with the suspect all the way up until now through voice and text. Yet, when she's asked the following day for that phone, she admits to deleting everything between herself and the prime suspect. Not only that, she becomes hesitant to even give the phone up still. No matter what her explanation, that would in any other case be classified under obstruction of justice. The witness intentionally deleted information in an ongoing murder investigation. Period.
That right there is another felony.
Then the witness gives a name of someone who can verify her alibi,
Jim,
yet refuses to give that person's last name or phone number. During the witness questioning, she says many things that are consistent, but is never required to explain these inconsistencies. The witness hands detectives a motive on a silver platter, she herself being part of that motive.
You said earlier you did not know she was pregnant until reading the newspaper.
Yep. I know why he lied to me. He lied to me because if I'd have known that he had a child on the way, I'd have never wasted my time with him in the first place. Like, none of this would ever even occur if he would have just told me the truth.
Like you just said, if I knew his wife was pregnant, I wouldn't be in this picture. Forgive me, but if he takes her out of the picture, you're never going to know that she was pregnant, right?
And then her dad
What do you
does
mean
this.
takes her out of the picture? Like,
If he murdered her, she's out of the picture. You're never going to know if she was pregnant. If he can get away with murder, you're not going to. I got divorced from my wife. You say, do you understand what I'm saying here? If she's gone,
but this.
Don't lead,
hypothetically,
please.
yeah,
Don't lead on.
hypothetically, if she,
Okay.
you understand where I'm going. If
Right,
you
but
didn't know,
You're leading into
Right.
questions that are nothing with your.
That
if
we
you
didn't
didn't know,
agree
though,
to.
Wait, Nick,
that she was there.
did you hear what I said?
I'm following you. I just want her to answer a question that relates to, she said something that's important, that if he didn't have a child on the way, or if she didn't know that, she would have continued the relationship, right? I'm not talking about the children. I'm just talking specifically about her. If the kids were still here and he called you and said, I'm divorced from my wife, and he gets away with this, do you understand what I'm thinking from his aspect?
And yet never ends up being investigated at all. Make it make sense for me, you guys. I'll wait.
You can't.
Later on, a new detective is assigned to look into Nichol Kessinger, and his name is Detective Michael Prill. And he's the only one who finally not only uncovered, but also documented Nichole's phone records and Google searches, as well as finding the secret calculator app that was on Chris Watts' phone. The secret app that Chris Watts used to hide all of Nichole's photos and videos, many of which were full-on nude. October 30th of 2018, exactly 1 week after this Detective Prill's report came out, Chris accepted the plea, which ultimately would end any more of Nichol Kessinger's involvement or questioning, therefore ending her need to continue to lie. Terribly at that. So no more investigation, case closed.
No.
What a coincidence, right? So what exactly was found during Detective Prill's investigation? Well, the very first thing listed in the timeline, according to Discovery, was a search that was done by Nichol Kessinger way back in 2017. This was a search for a person, and the person's name was Shanann Watts. Allow me to remind you that Nichol Kessinger said that she met Chris at work in June of 2018. She also stated to the FBI that she didn't know Chris was married at that time, nor did she even know his wife's name for the first few weeks of she and Chris's relationship. Can we cue CNC Music Factory for this one? Things that make you go, Another search for Shanann Watts was made by Nichol Kessinger in January of 2018, still 5 months before she says she met Chris Watts. Also, in one of Nichol Kessinger's interviews, she said she had only been working for Anadarko for about 4 months at the time this all went down, which, according to my calculations, and I'm no math whiz, would mean she began working for Anadarko in May of 2018. So she hadn't been there very long before she and Chris struck up their affair. Now, I must point out that it looks as though Nichol Kessinger may have known who Chris was before she even started working with him. This is, of course, speculation, and I just want to throw out a theory. Again, this is just a theory. This is just speculation. Here it goes. Okay. Nichol Kessinger was very into health and fitness, right? She worked out, she ate clean. Her body was important to her. Now, what is it that Shanann Watts did for work?
Thrive.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She worked as a sales rep for Thrive. What exactly is Thrive? Well, in short, it's a health and wellness company that concentrates on natural, clean, preservative-free products for gaining and maintaining a healthy body. Is it at all possible that Nichol Kessinger heard about Thrive from someone? Maybe even that the closest rep to her was a woman by the name of Shanann Watts? So she Googled Shanann Watts.
and then
Shanann
thought
had a
Chris was
very
cute.
public Facebook page. A person did not even need to be friends with her on Facebook. They didn't even need to have a Facebook account to see any of her posts. And she posted a lot. Chris Watts was in many of her posts, and I'm not even going to pretend that the guy was not a handsome man. And coupled with the way he was with his children, how Shanann talked him up in all of her videos and posts, he would appear to be a great catch.
Hey guys, we're here from the boat today. Love you guys. Have a great day. We are sitting here. He's the best thing that has ever happened to me. Say hi, Cece. Hi, Daddy. Careful, Bella, it's hot. You guys like my mug? Oh my gosh, this is so good. The fire, some cookies.
And a lot of snow.
You guys, I really wish I could say that all women respect that a married man is not fair game, but unfortunately, I can't.
Some people think it's a challenge.
There are even some women that consider it a challenge to steal a man away from their wives. You can disagree with that all you want, but these women exist. They get excited when they see a wedding ring rather than disappointed. There are also people out there that just don't care. If they see something or someone that they want, they go for it, no matter what may be in their way. All I'm asking is it possible that Nichol Kessinger may be one of these people?
Yes!
That once she saw Chris, she was instantly attracted and she became obsessed with him to the point where she stalked him through Shanann's public Facebook and eventually applied to work at Anadarko in order to meet him? It's just a question. It's just a theory.
Very possible.
I think it's one of the more reasonable theories, considering that there are some theories out there that Nichol Kessinger is a witch.
Have you seen the movie Obsessed? There are women that are like that. No offense to the good women, okay? There's good guys, there's bad guys. There's good women, there's bad girls. Like, I'm not saying, like, you guys didn't know the deal. I'm trying to dig myself out of a hole that I probably dug myself. But this woman destroyed, didn't care, had no empathy, wanted what she wanted. She was selfish, narcissistic, and she pretty much almost got what she wanted. Besides Chris.
And this all involves human sacrifice. But no matter what, those searches happened. DA Rourke confirmed that 2017 was not a typo. That first search for Shanann Watts happened. And it happened in 2017. We're going to move on. I'm going to end part 1 now because I really don't want these to be longer than an hour. And with all the inserts that I'm putting in of interviews and things like that, I just want to make sure that we're not getting crazy here because I really wanted to keep each part under an hour and a half for sure. So I'm not sure where we're at right now, but once I start adding in interviews and things, it tends to get pretty long. So we're going to end part 1 right now. Stay tuned for part 2.
Alrighty, guys. So with the end of this first part, I definitely am very intrigued to watch the second one. I would definitely vouch that if you guys don't want my commentate or my reaction, definitely go over to her channel, watch it yourself. But for those that enjoy my commentary, my spin on things, my ideas, my thoughts and opinions, you guys know the deal. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share on both channels. Definitely comment down below your guys' thoughts, your opinions, your theories, and so forth like that. If you guys want me to continue on to part 2, type it down in below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So keep it real, keep it safe, and as always, keep nerding on. We'll see you guys next time.